This is a time of immense change in transportation. Whether it's societal changes or public transportation changes in terms of technologies, we have diversified shifting demographics, we have increasing technological capabilities, and that's occurring almost on a daily basis. We have market changes in transportation as well as a number of other trends that are creating, I think, a significant demand for more and better transportation options and hence transportation research. In fact, even I think the definition of mobility itself is changing. It's evolving and it's shifting to really consider traveler preferences and the rise of multimodal operational concepts. In all of that, the question for my office, for the FTA Research Office, is how to recognize and address those changes and turn them into opportunities for public transportation in the 21st century. As you can see on this slide, over 75% of our program is geared to practical demonstrations, which we find is the best way of making the leap from research to practice. Again, we're very practical in that way. We follow a cradle-to-grave approach on research, starting off with strategic planning for transit research, and then we go to developing and implementing comprehensive research program plans that actually program the funding for research. And once we get the results, we serve as a conduit for research dissemination across the boards and across the nation. TRI also happens to be the primary liaison for research with other federal agencies and other external transportation partners like APTA, universities, and yes, TRB itself. So what areas are we really focusing on at this point? Well, Mobility on Demand is a program that we developed about 2 years ago to help transit agencies adapt to and adopt innovative business practices and partnerships, as well as the technologies for integrated mobility options at the local level. We've spoken a lot about our research sandbox, our MOD sandbox at other venues, but it's certainly an important element in our research program. Our transit automation program, which was established about a year ago, was set up to expedite deployment of automation for various types of transit operations. Another exciting initiative is the ATRI program, which we partner very closely with Federal Highways and with the Joint Program Office, the ITS Joint Program Office. I find this one very gratifying personally because it's really about increasing accessibility of transportation for people with different functional abilities. Whether it's Americans with disabilities or older Americans, we're talking about providing better granular service for folks around the country. Through technological advances, I think we can really do that, as well as the new practices that emerge from those. You know, one of the areas where FTA has led the way for years is advanced propulsion research. So recent work in inductive charging and fuel cells, hybrid electrics, all of that with the idea that you're leading to commercialization and implementation, really I think speaks to creating an entire industrial capability in this country and a new sector. Another area that is really ripe for research is the health of transit assets and infrastructure. Using advanced technologies like embedded sensors and new materials, including polymers and composites and nanoparticles, there have been some major advances in both the construction and maintenance of infrastructure and physical assets and how you monitor their health. Think about the potential for changing how transit does business. Instead of doing visual inspections of infrastructure, sensor technology coupled with new analytical tools and computational techniques could lead to real-time health monitoring of fixed and moving assets. Safety is, of course, at the forefront of the work that we do at FTA. And we've had a number of successful demonstrations of track worker protection technology and are making sure that our infrastructure-related work also ensures safer operations. We're also working very hard to maximize the use of standards. In a technology-rich environment, the use of standards is one of the best ways to ensure interoperability, efficiency, and reliability. So we really do focus on that. We want to make sure that we're facilitating the development of these standards and get broad stakeholder buy-in, and that we're doing this in a way that the industry can adopt those standards comfortably. Also want to make mention of our external research programs and partners. I think one of the strengths of our program at the research office is that it really lends itself to innovation and partnerships with external stakeholders. We don't do this in a silo, we don't do this in a vacuum. These programs are really very important resources for giving us an outside perspective, which is very important. Innovation doesn't occur in that vacuum that I just mentioned, so the occasional gut check is very important for us, and it keeps us focused on what the real needs of the industry are. The other thing is that whether it's TCRP or NTI or our TRAC committee, which is our ad hoc advisory committee, there is an important element of technical assistance that comes through working through these programs. Peers listen to peers, right? And so the industry listens to industry in this case, and we're well aware of that. These are natural instruments for information dissemination at the national level, and at the end of the day, the whole point of research is to share that information.